Starting video, post a tweet. Stop. I was trying to turn the volume down and it's rewinding the track. Oh my god. Good morning, Oggy. Good morning. Who else we got there? So we got Luke's there, we got Oggy there. Who else is coming on the Discord this morning? Just get to the right screen. We get to the right screen. Lost Boy, g'day. How you doing? Ready, set, go.
We have picture.
There's a bit of a delay there. Good morning, Mark. What doing? How you doing?
Hey, Mark. Hey, Lost Boy.
Drink my coffee. So, it's a Saturday morning and we're live. And g'day, everybody. Hello from Fort Lauderdale. That's how you say it, Fort Lauderdale? Whereabouts is Fort Lauderdale?
Florida.
It is Florida, is it? Okay, yeah, okay. 212 Roger, hello, first timer, Swaddy Club. Somebody make up. So 212 Roger, it's new names. I always like to see new names on this live stream. It's always good to have new people coming along. Anyway, so Luke has actually sort of preempted what we're going to chat about today. And Dallo's there, g'day Dallo. So we did the video this one, the one video I got out this week was we're talking about retirement in general and, you know, what's it mean to you. So, and Peter Klopp. And Luke's turned around and said, why don't we talk more about the cost of living? Which is a really hard subject to do because it's going to be different for everybody. But I do have some leverage sites that we can probably sort of tune in on, right, to do some comparatives if we can actually sort of lay it up properly. Malcolm Jury, hello from New Zealand. Good to see you too. So, and as you know, so the new format now, I'm just going to call it the same thing every time. G'day from. It's up to the audience, right, to drive the program. You know, no, okay.
But do they have a license?
License for what?
To drive.
Oh yeah, well, this is Thailand. You don't need a license. Actually, it was interesting. Some data came out this week. I think they had the data last week, sort of saying that there's actually twice as many motorcycles on the road here in Thailand registered as there is cars. Now that doesn't count in the ones that are unregistered. And the point I was going to make there is the fact that in 4 days' time, my motorcycle needs to be registered again for the next year, which is what we call it compulsory third-party insurance, which means the fact that every vehicle that's registered on the road goes through sort of a process where you can't register unless, of course, there is some sort of indemnity insurance against personal injury for third parties. We call it third-party personal injury insurance, or green slip insurance in Australia. You probably have something similar in America, I would expect. Is that right, Oggy? Luke, you can.
In car insurance, it's not attached to your registration. Some states require you to have your registration be valid.
Yeah, so how does that work? So like in Australia, if I use the example, basically if you've got a registered car in Australia and you get behind the car and you have no insurance, personal insurance or any other insurance attached to the car, there is actually in insurance what they call a government-backed insurance for personal injury. So if you hit that old lady crossing...
Not here.
Yeah? Well, I think it's a pretty good idea, the indemnity insurance.
I think it's a good idea too. It should be, when you pay your registration, you should have basic insurance. But The insurance companies have too much power in the U.S.
Yeah, so in the case of Australia, is a month before that comes around, they send you the paperwork so you can then shop around for the insurance, right? So you can go from point A to point B, and unfortunately it's all pretty much standardised. All the prices are the same and so on and so forth. But at least they give you the option of choice, or the perceived option of choice. But here in Thailand, so like 4 days from now, I've got to insure my motorcycle, and get the new 2022 or 2022, or it's, I don't know what the number it is. It's 65 is the number. I'm just trying to think. That little label that they put on your bike and your car, but no. You've got to remember. You've actually got to remember when it's due, because they don't send it to you. It's bizarre. So.
Well, they don't in the U.S. anymore either. Well, at least not in our state.
So when you've got to think about the typical way life works, without that reminder, are you seriously? There's a car out in the street I walk past when I go to get my coffee. It's still got it's got the 2563 label. So it's probably it's parked on the road, right? It probably doesn't have any insurance on it. It probably is not even registered. It's probably just let it lapse because nobody. So when I'm getting to the point was the fact that although this data came up, there's twice as many motorcycles registered as cars. I can't honestly think of how many people have unregistered motorcycles and unregistered cars because of the typical attitudes of, well, they didn't remind me too bad, It's just a crazy situation. But again, I suppose personal freedoms and personal responsibility, it comes down to that sort of stuff, I guess. But again, somebody behind the wheel of a car and knocking somebody, the breadwinner over for another family completely make a family destitute because their primary bread earner is, run over by a truck or something because somebody didn't bother doing the registration. It always worries me. Now, where was I going with that? That was registration, and I've now lost my train of thought. Richie Kingstar, g'day, how you doing?
Your bike registration's expiring. I think that's what got you off on the tangent.
Yeah, that's mine's expiring. I was trying to think of. No, I was going to go somewhere else with it. Anyway, it'll come back to me.
Well, you forgot to tell us.
Yeah, I know. I need a cue sheet. I really do. But that's why you come on. That's why you come and join in, because Warren just keeps losing the plot every 5 minutes.
Squirrel.
So we don't want to take a license there from our other cost of living. Yeah, so we're cost of living and retirement. Yes. Well, what we're going to do is we've done this before. We've done housing prices and things like that, but it's very hard to compare rentals from one place to another. I suppose we can. I do have a website here for if I can just get to it. Thailand property. We've done this before. Open a new tab, and we've looked at pricing in the property. So let me just bring that up there because we're going to go to that shortly. Now we've looked at pricing around here, and we know what it is because we're buying, but we've got the rentals. So if you come into Bangkok, property type, renting, well, not so much house, townhouse, villa, apartment, condo, yeah, and you've got Bangkok, BANG, PopeKael, and I'll get out of the screen in a minute. And relevance, price, low to high. You've got your okay, so where's the company? I said this is Bang Na. It's way north. Bang Flat Sea. I never really need to narrow these down to different places, but you can get the idea. Just Bangkok province, for instance, as little as $2,699 a month, which is, I don't know, you can't even do the math on that. Let me get a conversion. Where's my converter? I can't do this anymore in my head. Just old age. Go to convert. So 2,699 is $113 a month in Australian dollars. That's less than $100 in the US for a 16 square metre room. We were talking about 32 square metre rooms, when we did that walk through IKEA. Can't swing a cat in there. I can't imagine how you're going to sort of even manage to live in there. But a single guy, I suppose, 20 square metres, 16 square metres.
I usually don't swing my cats.
Don't you?
No. Especially if they're going to hit the wall. You have to repair the wall.
Yeah.
And what are you charging for under the staircase, Warren?
Oh, I don't know. So we've got no data on Sukhothai. Thank you. Okay, so I've actually got to get a map.
So you glossed over that one.
Yeah, glossed over that one, exactly. I've got to think of somewhere like Sukhothai doesn't have any data for Thailand property. So I've got to think of somewhere a little bit more. Oh, come on. Kashanamburi. Let's try Kashanamburi.
So yeah, my question to Warren before we started the live stream was the difference between, say, the cost of living in Bangkok, a city in Thailand, versus a rural area
like
in Thailand.
Yeah. So the trouble with this thing here, like I'm just using Kashanamburi, which is the province, and you're not even getting like this. There's plenty of places to rent, but this is the biggest problem we have trying to do any sort of comparisons. Is they don't list them. It's not like the domain which we have in Australia, which is pretty much if your house will not sell in Australia unless of course it's on domain, which is like the primary real estate. What do you call it? The only places you're going to get here are the popular ones, which might be sort of in the focus of Westerners, because Thais just don't use this shit to fucking find anything, So it makes
they can read the signs, right?
they can read the signs, yes. So
That'd be like the first thing I want to learn is how to, what sign says house for rent or room for rent.
Yeah, so these ones here, they've got Prosh later high. This is Nakhon Pathom, which is this is the province we're moving to. So 9,000, 12,000, 12,000, 15,000, which is the same prices we're paying here, around our area. So it's and again, very few listings. But
so 300 to 400 a month US.
Yeah, but the point is, there is a plethora of rentals available. They just don't list them. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't get listed because they don't. Well, one thing is Thai people don't have that idea. The fact that if they're going to list it, somebody's going to undercut you, or they have to the rental price, there's agent fees and everything else. No, they don't want to. They don't want to split the money. That's it. It's all their money. And of course, the other side is the fact that a lot of rentals go through the. They're not given as like taxation purposes. Quite honestly, the place we're staying in here now, right? It's owned by an 85-year-old, spinster. Get the idea, and that's handled through sort of family connections, and it's all off book. Nobody pays tax, so the 9,000 baht a month rent we pay here, I'm sure doesn't go onto anybody's income statement, tax statement. But then again, sort of, unless of course they're earning 150,000 baht a year, right, then they don't need to list it. It's like there's this grey area as well. It's not like in Australia that even if you only earn, $3,000 a year, or 4,000, whatever mine works out to be in the end of the fucking day. But you still got to list it. even though I don't pay tax on it, I've still got to put it on a listing. Here in Thailand, you don't even have to file your report unless, of course, you're earning it. They don't like you're just under the radar. You're a non-taxpayer, or one of the, it's bizarre system. I think, like, again, we try to sort of label these things in one way or another. Like comparing, different countries and other countries, but ultimately, it's just one of those sort of things. It's something you get used to, right? Thailand is a fairly sort of open, free society, even though we've got a military junta style-esque, governmental rule. People, protesting on the streets about that sort of stuff. Well, it's got nothing to do with me. I'm not Thai, and I can't vote, so I really can't have anything to do with it. But ultimately, there is a certain level of freedom that we do get to experience here, even as foreigners. Apart from the 90-day report, which is done online now, and once a year, just fronting up and showing that you've got money in the bank. That's about all you got to do in the over 50s bracket if you're on that retirement visa. But yeah, but as Luke was saying, he was sort of saying what's pricing of food. There is a website, right? Stephen found this. Stephen Monash found this site a few years ago, and was sitting there doing some comparisons. Now I've used Australian dollars there, and this is the price of food prices in Bangkok. This is fairly well updated, constantly, and it sort of averages out. It's a very, very well built website, but you can actually sort of see just from here. Like, look, although I don't buy pretty much any of this sort of stuff here, but if you take milk, it's a quarter of a litre milk here. That's price in Bangkok, 55 cents for a quarter of a litre. I've only got to move across to where we're going to live now, and it's price is already going down. This is data we can sort of use. I don't know if you've ever come across Nimbera before, but we can do also a comparison there, and sort of open a new tab. We can pick up food prices, country, Australia, and we can again and select a city. Let's go Sydney. Go away, I don't want to sign up for anything. So yes, it's AUD. So price of milk in Sydney is cheaper. Price of bread here is cheaper than Sydney. It's almost half the price here. But you can flash through. Well, that's not really bad. Okay, it's got a little. We need more contributors for Nakhon to increase our daily quantity. I'll worry about that later. I might start contributing to it. But yeah, so rice 17 cents. 17 cents. Australia, rice 25 cents. So when you start to look at the average prices of odds and ends, eggs are cheaper. Eggs are cheaper here as well, 42, 47. This is just your basic, staples, if you know what I mean. We don't eat beef, but yeah, so 276 per 1.15 of a kilo. Okay, 276. So it's actually, beef is cheaper here. But in Nakhon Pathom, for instance, it's almost Sydney prices. That's almost Sydney prices. So again, it's probably not a big seller because we're out of the city. Bananas, 43 cents. Bananas are almost half the price. Oranges, 87, 105. So 72, so the oranges get cheaper when just go one province aside. I was trying to find some more data. So data collection is our biggest problem here, I guess. Food prices, Thailand. We're trying to think of a city.
Well, Hua Hin.
Hua Hin. Well, that's still very modernised, isn't it? I was going to try to say Saraburi. That's a bit further afield. What about Kanchanaburi? There we go. This is further west. And use Australian dollars to make it a bit easier to read. AUD. Oh. Okay, so 49. That's a bit more expensive there. Loaf of bread. Beef. So beef actually got cheaper going west. Interesting, isn't it? Mind you, whether they call it beef or not's another matter, really. That's okay. Asian foods. That's a loaf of fresh bread. Is that a loaf of fresh bread? 33. Yeah. I can't work that out. What did they do in there? So, recommended amount of food, 24 Western task foods. What? Bread is... It's a different type of bread, is it? Or is it just a different weight? Oh, 125 grams. That's right, 125 grams. That's a loaf of bread. That's like the half of a loaf of bread, I guess. You're buying it differently and buying different quantities, I can only imagine. Be nice to actually see these sort of things here on a side-by-side, but I can't do a side-by-side comparison here. You have to do the side-by-side comparison yourself, guys.
Export the data and drop it into a spreadsheet.
We could. Maybe you want me to sit there and play spreadsheets this morning. What I'll do is
I'm just saying.
I'll just put the link up there, so if you want to go and check it out yourself, then you're quite welcome. Anyway, Richie, so in your last video, it looks like the new house is taking shape and almost ready. It is almost ready. She got the health certificate done. That was given back to them last Wednesday. So I guess we've got another week to go. As I said, once the estate says the bank is paid, then we'll give you, then we can start making plans to move in. But that's about all I can say now. I'm not in the loop. I really am not in the loop with this whole thing. Where's Sisaket, David boy? Sisaket? No, I'm not quite sure. Even they don't have a place in Thailand. Okay, that's Nan, way up there. But did they actually have Sisaket? That's Kanchanaburi. We got some pricing in Nan. Let's see if we can. So they don't have Sisaket. We got Nan. We don't have Nan. Oh, we got Nan. So that's province. Baht. AUD. Try to use the same. Why do I use Australian dollars? Because most of us are Australians here. Shopping at the Thai market is not supermarket, and Thailand is a lot cheaper. Well, this is the other thing. There's two places you can shop. You can shop like a Westerner in the supermarkets, and you're going to pay supermarket pricing. But the average Thai will go to like the street markets. Like we've got one across the main road here. And we've got one down the road, we've got one up there. They're everywhere, they really are. And this is what Thai, this is how Thais buy. Even our main soy here is it's one of those few what they call market streets. So no, I've been meaning to do this, and I keep on sort of saying one of these days I'll actually get out of bed really early and do it. Is go down and actually show you. 7 o'clock in the morning the street is bare, and from about 7 to 7:30 it's like the ants come out. They're just all out, and by 7:30 there's little pop-up stalls from one end of the street to the other, and that's there until about 10 o'clock in the morning, and they pull it all down again. Then the street is bare again from about 10:30 till about 3:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it's a rinse and repeat, and it just pops up everywhere. And not only that is the fact that it seems to also be this end of the street here is the AM market side, and the main road side of the street, which is the other half kilometre, is like the evening side of the street. Although you get spatterings across both, but it's just it really is quite amusing. You have the morning markets up this end, and you have the afternoon market down the other end of the street, and it's every day. I've made mention of this before, is the fact that when I first came to Thailand in 2005, our office was in the Surf Corp building, which is actually just above Pat Pong Soi 2, which is that big international street market on the red light district. Everybody knows Pat Pong markets, and here's me in the it was brought to my attention. Oh, they says that's Pat Pong. You've heard about Pat Pong. This is Pat Pong, markets. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, all these tents, these awnings and stuff just pop up, and by 3 o'clock in the morning, it's all pulled down. So it's a 12-hour sort of cycle. It's quite amusing just to sit there and from the office space and watch that happen. But it just happens out here in the street too, which is just totally amazing. But yes, I don't know. It's a big food price. I'm not quite sure what they're trying to tell us there. That's the. Oh, okay, so this graph must give us the low and high side there. Tomatoes are high, eggs are really cheap. This is naan pricing there. Eggs.
Hey Warren, is it part of the Thai tradition to haggle prices in the market?
That's a difficult one, unless of course you can really command the language. It's not easy for a foreigner to really get involved in the. I'm not paying 5 baht for an egg. I want to pay 4 baht and 50 satang. Unless of course you can really command the language and how many eggs are you buying, sort of thing. It's one of those things. Like, okay, we got this little live-in cat. Those tabby cats and the street cats has made its home in our house. So I go and buy it fish, and there's in the afternoon there's a little stall that pops up outside the first 7-Eleven. It's also on the other side of the street, and she just sells fish, and all I do now is just when I go past and we need some fish for the cat, I just half baht. She'll just get me 50 baht worth of fish, right? There's no haggling, but she just it looks like she picks the best fish for me, if you know what I mean. Because they know me now. Before it would be sort of thing, I would get the rattier looking fish, but now I get the best fish. And I said, it doesn't matter. It's for the mum meow, and she understands what I'm talking about. So, but she always it's not so much a haggle. I now get a better deal because I lived there, and they recognise me that I lived there.
Right, you're an established customer. They know you're going to come back. They'll take care of you.
And so this haggling is one side, but as being known, you don't need to haggle. I know when I went to get dry cat food as well. So you probably have a brand in America. We have it in Australia. It's called Whiskers, right? So like a 500-gram bag of Whiskers was I think 125 baht, right? But the shopkeeper was quite happy to say, yeah, well, you can buy this one, but we have this one here. It's a Whiskers style. So basically, I don't know whether it's Whiskers or not. It seems to have branding all over the big bag, but they've taken like a bulk bag and they've split it down into smaller bags. But he was quite happy to say, don't buy that one, buy this one, which is still the same thing supposedly, and the cat still likes it. So it was 80 baht for the same size bag. So I don't pay $1.25 or 125 baht. I pay 80 baht or 85 baht for the same quantity of supposedly the same stuff. But if I wasn't a local, he probably would have been happy to sell me the Whiskers, the branded bag, and that's part of the charm of Thailand. Is this, they do, once you get established somewhere, they sort of get to know you, and they want to help you save money. And so, relating that to haggling, I let Chanya do most of that dealing, and I never really hear her haggling anything. Sometimes she might sort of say, "Are you sure?" And then you might get a little bit of a change in price. Or mostly I see it when it comes to buying dresses, if you know what I mean. So she'll pick a dress out and it's 500 baht for that dress, and then she'd tell me, oh, but she's going to give it to me for 450 baht. But that's the only haggling I ever really see is when it comes to clothing. When it comes to food, maybe it's just the value and the price is not worth haggling about. I remember sort of seeing one of those little things on one of these little meme videos about the rich person comes up to buy the eggs off the guy that's destitute, and he'll haggle the price of an egg for 5 cents or something, and feel like he wins when he gets 2 for free, and then but you turn around and you'd be driving a bloody BMW and feel good about leaving $100 tip at a restaurant. But he'll rip like the guy that the 5 cents that he saves on the street from the beggar, right? Yet he'll pay the $100 tip for because it's in a high class restaurant, because it's all image. We don't really see that over here. Well, it probably does happen. Maybe I'm just not looking, but it's just one of those sort of things. I don't see much haggling. The only number of times seeing haggling is with Westerners in places like Patpong Market, or Chatachuk, which is the big market north of Bangkok, which I've actually just heard today or yesterday, the fact that Chatuchak is now going to open 6 days a week. So if you're coming out here, it's just not a weekend market anymore. It's now open every day of the week now. So
maybe in Pattaya might get some haggling down there.
Yeah, the haggling seems to be more Westerner focused from what I've seen. I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on price-wise and things like that, and when people are talking pricing, because it's part of the simple language. But I really, I'm sitting there waiting for, this or that on the street to, 2 customers in front of me. I don't hear them haggling and complaining about the 20 baht for that or the 30 baht for this. They're quite happy to, part with the money. Maybe if I, like every couple of days, I'll buy, Supalite, which is the pineapple. And you get in a little plastic bag, so it's pretty much it's a whole pineapple sliced up, already cut for you and peeled, for 25 baht. Now, if I bought 10 bags, right, I might get a saving at, like that's 250 baht. Well, I might get a saving of maybe 20, 30 baht if I bought 10 bags. I'm buying them in bulk, and they're happy to get rid of the bulk, and they'll always give you a discount whether you ask or not. Just like with the fish, like basically I think these fish you get 3 for 15. No, was it 3 for 20 baht? That's right. So 3 for 20 baht. But now I get 3 of those little containers for 50 baht because I'm buying them in sort of a small bulkish, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so on one of your walks, Wara, she looks like a new house taking shape. Shopping at Thai markets is not supermarket. They do go Richie Kickstart. That's good. Right? That's love watching your area come to life early morning. Yeah, so really what I got to do is I got to get Chanya out. For me to actually do a video of it, I need somebody to say what these shops are, and I've sort of said that. Getting Chanya to walk down the street is an impossibility. So it's a very
takes the motorcycle to the 7-Eleven at the corner, right?
Yeah. It's charming, but it's frustrating. You know what I mean? Like seriously, Okay, I got a bit of a health kick going on, so I want to walk places now. I don't take the motorcycle anymore. I'll walk down the street to get there. It's only a kilometre down the street. It's okay, but she's not into that sort of stuff. She's Thai. Anyway, so Joey, yes. Hello, sir. In Bangkok, are transgender relationships culturally and legally accepted? Culturally, yes. Legally, no. There is no legal comparison. The Thai ID card is unchangeable from birth. So your birth gender is permanently on record in your Thai ID citizenship card. That cannot be changed. And of course, in that sort of same breath, that means the fact that Thailand does not have what they call legal representation or same-sex marriage laws yet. So basically, somebody who is transgender is prohibited in marrying the same sex in that sort of thing. Although marriage goes on, but there's marriage for legal purposes, and you got Buddhist marriage, or the official family sanction of the marriage, which is more important in Thai culture than the actual legalities of these sort of things. But there is a push at the moment going on that they're trying to get that changed, but these sort of things take forever to go through Parliament. Can you leave a house purchase together? Yeah, so when it comes to foreigners, we can't be on. There are situations or stipulations where you could be as a partnership in a house where you own the foreigner would own 49%. But again, because we can't be legally recognised as being a partnership, unless of course I was to set up a business. Right, and do a partnership and buy the house property under business sort of sanction, everything else. It's the only way I've been enjoying. But that aside, I said it's Chanya. Let the banks and let Thais do Thai things. That's my way of looking at it. I don't really have that much representation here. Not that it bothers me. Paul in Sydney, g'day. And Zenel, hi friend. Yes, g'day. Haggling is more tourist. Yeah, that's right, David boy. Haggling is a tourist thing, and places that accommodate for tourists. MBK, Chatuchak, markets that have clothing, yes, souvenirs, accessories, and you really got to know that again the thing about haggling is you've got to know what you're dealing with as well, because some of the crap you'll find at Chatuchak is just really come out to Sanam Song here. The quality of goods is way better than Chatuchak and half the price already. To actually the price for the rental of a stall is 10 times the price in Chatuchak is throughout here. So that has to reflect on the pricing of the product as well, or the quality of the product. So it's one of those sort of things. You might have 10 times the customer base walking past your shop, but you've also got 10 times the competition. But the Sanam Long Song is a great weekend market. It is open, sort of open during the week as well, but it's only certain areas are open during the week, like the home products, the garden products, and the car products, which is the weekend market was where it really comes alive. That's more of the average family. So A lot of families here in Thailand are sort of dual and triple income, whereas the guy will work 5 days a week on a building site, and then of course they'll set up a little market stall at Salam Song there to sell something or other, some second-hand goods. Doesn't really matter what they're sort of selling, but they do it. That's what they do on the weekend. They go and sort of sell stuff, make a bit extra money. Thomas Ogden, you got to lay down, have you? Okay. Listen to. I'll be listening on YouTube. Okay. Anyway, so Gang of Four. So watch some of you want to do. Yes. Okay. So questions. So hopefully, Luke. The best way to do this thing here, again. It's going to be different for everybody. If you want to eat your hamburger, I think if I use the example of hamburgers, you're not going to get a variation in price anywhere. A hamburger is like Burger King, whether you're in Sukhothai, Sapamburi, Pattaya, or what it's going to be 229 baht for your what do you call it, your set. That's what it is. It's a flat price. That's something that you get to deal with.
Yeah, I think that's a good point of reference, hamburgers, because McDonald's has been in business for 50 years, and they're global.
Yeah.
So the Big Mac is a good point of reference for the global economy and pricing.
I don't think they've actually even got Big Macs on here. They said we don't have the Big Mac. They should do more pricing. Property prices, property price comparisons. Okay.
You can't include beef and a price on there in the Big Mac. That's not relevant.
And then let's just compare. Yeah, they're insistent that I should do. Price to income ratio. So mortgage as percentage of income. What am I trying to sort of say there? Okay, so here we go. Rent per month. 1 bedroom city centre. His price is Bangkok versus Sydney. So $834 for there versus $2,558. So it's a 204% increase. To buy, so it's almost double the price to buy. But so are we getting select the city in Thailand? But if we go and compare that to let's go Nakhon Pathom, and we go to somewhere like let's look at Bathurst. It's not really a good distance comparison. I wonder if we've actually got some. Okay, so we don't really have some comparatives. Again, they're lacking some data. What do Hua Hin to? I was trying to find something that's equivalent to. Oh, Byron Bay. There we go. We've got anything from Hua Hin to Byron Bay, which is holiday resorts. Oh, there we go. Rent per month. I'd have to compare Byron Bay as sort of a similar type of holiday resort location. 15,000 baht versus 109,000 baht. Quite a difference in price in there. Outside cities, city centre, 11,000, 94,000. But again, when you'd compare Byron Bay, it's just one of those things. It's a bit of a difficult one to really compare, isn't it? I have to lay down. Sour subject question. Please explain, as a foreigner, what taxes do you pay in Thailand? I pay no taxes at all. There's no income. I earn zero income in Thailand. When I do earn interest from the bank account that I've got here in Thailand, they take, I think, 30% of that income, or that interest. So like I might make 2,500, 3,000 baht a year in interest, and they take something like 30%. But that's the only sort of taxes I pay here. Income tax. Well, again, so there is an income tax scale. It's the same for foreigners as for Thai people. But I don't have that data at an easy one to find. What's up? What's up, Warren and chat? How you doing, Patrick? Good to see you again. John, the accountant. What is important is price to average wage when looking. Yes, and that's something that I think when we do. This is one of the things I always try to avoid these, cost of living, because it is very much relative to, as you sort of said, the average wage. The average wage here, for somebody, for somebody that's just fresh out of school or something like that, they may be lucky to make 10,000 baht a month as a table hand at a restaurant. For want of a better, 10,000 baht a month. What's that? 10,000. So $421 a month is what they're likely to pull in. The only thing I could use as a reference point there is, when I met Chanya, so, this is the sort of thing, she was a cabaret dancer, not in a big Tiffany show or any of those high class things. It was just a local outfit. Bunch of transgender girls are all friends from basically school and in the area. They had one boss who did all the haggling for, dealt with all the bookings in the show, and she probably got the most out of it. But they would make probably 300 baht per show. And when I first met her, she was getting probably 4 or 5 shows a week. But even at that age, she was 25 then. That was 12 years ago. But she was making 300 baht plus tips per show, and the tips could vary depending on what they were doing. And when I say tips, we're talking 20 baht. They'd come and drop 20 baht in the little cleavage of your bra, things like that. Whether they shared that at the end of the night, that really depended. I never really sort of investigated it that much. But so the show, that the presenter or the people who booked the establishment or booked the show, they would be paying maybe 5,000 baht. And I think there was about 12 girls in the crew. Right, my big boss would take most of it because she's got all the wardrobe, for want of a better word, and then of course they would get 300 baht a show, so they're making 1,500 baht per week, but 4 of them are actually living, those 32 square metre sort of apartment style living. When I first saw that was 18 months or 15 months into our relationship. She finally, asked me to come round, pick her up, blah blah blah, from her place where she was staying, and there are sort of 4 single beds all stacked up in a row on one side of the wall. We had the door to the apartment was like, as we walked in, and seriously, 3 dozen pairs of shoes. Right, just inside the door, and then of course there was the hongnam, so the bathroom, and off to the left, and of course 4 girls or 4 transgenders living in a 32 square metre apartment with all the shoes and all. Oh mate, it was. I said, this is no way for my girl to live, and that was the point I sort of said to her. I said, go find somewhere as a house to live in, you know. It's cheaper for me to rent a place 12 months a year than it is for me to come here 4 times a year and book a hotel for every trip. It just makes more sense, the fact that you've got a roof over your head. You can start, you know, so it was 5,000, I just said 5,000 baht a month for the rent, and then, you know, you'll have your own place. You don't have to share with anybody, and, you know, I've got a place to come to, and that's how, you know, that's when I started sending money over. But that was 15 months. Well, that was 15 months. It took us 3 months to find somewhere. So that was 18 months into our relationship, you know, with the long distance travelling. But she was very happy with that. So it worked for her, and you know, and she's rented ever since. And she's always been in charge of that sort of stuff. I just make sure that I just give her the money for the rent. What else? Hi, Richie, Patrick, Hoi Hin to Gold Coast. I don't know. So can we get Hoi Hin to Gold Coast? I don't know. Australia versus Thailand. So let's go Hoi Hin. We got Gold Coast. Oh, there it is. It's got a Gold Coast. Okay. I suppose the weather's about the same when you start to think about it. So yeah, still 176% more. But again, as John was saying, you know, like not really comparing again apples with the people that, you know, the average person. Salaries and average monthly, yeah. Average monthly net salary after tax, 14,000 baht a month. You know, that's the average. You know, it's not a restaurant owner, but and a restaurant worker, you know, a table hand. But yes, 682% versus 176%. So, effectively, I suppose Hoi Hin is more expensive. I think that's what they're trying to say there, compared to salaries. And I think that's where we completely miss out on most of the average. Great little website, this thing. It just needs more people contributing data, that's all. I might start doing that myself. But then, of course, that feels like a job, doesn't it? So, Richie, how close is Bangkok, Thailand, back to normal yet? Well, I was actually going to bring up an article. I've got an article ready to go here, and just drag it across there, see if I can put it in the... Oh, come on. You're gonna drop it in here? Come on, just drop it in there. Go on, just drop it in. This came through yesterday, so... Reuters, Thai authorities on Friday agreed to allow foreigners inoculated against the coronavirus to travel to its biggest holiday island without undergoing quarantine, announcing a new order for 5 million more doses of AstraZeneca vaccine. With arrival numbers plummeting this year, tourism-related Thailand is racing to secure vaccines for its population. They seem to be taking a good sweet time about it as well. They've been putting out fires with little outbreaks. You know, we had an outbreak here a couple of weeks ago just down the road of a wet market down the road there, and, you know, of course, though they would have not normally have been, you know, in line for vaccines, being just the average. You know, well, they're trying to focus on the health workers and everything else, but, you know, they've had to redivert to basically inoculate people down there, and this is what's happening at the moment. I'm pretty sure that I hate to be trying to deal with this stuff. The arrival numbers plummeting. If we can inoculate 50 to 60% of the population, we can open. But they're talking about this thing here is the latest thing. I saw better information on NBT. It was NBT. NN. Is it NNB? NNT. Sorry, NNT News Bureau. Let me just bring that across here. Labour Minister trying to find self-quarantine decree. So this is what they're talking about at the moment. So this is what's currently going through. 14 hours. Self-quarantine decreased to 10 days. Health Ministry, post-jab death not linked to COVID vaccine. 5 attractions named in safety zones for tourism campaign. 4 cabinet ministers officially appointed. Thailand set to set up a joint trade committee with UK following Brexit. Chatuchak market in 6 days a week. Bangkok to host longboard dance. No idea what a longboard dance is. Thai monk with quest to provide greater access for wilderness of all genders. So I'm going to find some bit more relevant information. Maybe I can go to their website, get more.
No.
Let's just turn the music off. Thank you very much. That's TV. I don't want the TV. I want the website. Anyway, it looks like go to home. And yes, let's go to English. Come on. Still no why it takes so long to. Top news. Okay, this one here is the one that's on their top news list. Yeah, so we've got the authority that's making all these. It approves PokeKael measures for accepting vaccinated foreigners. Covered blah blah. Set to implement from September 1. Governor of Thailand given approval for guidelines accepting vaccinated foreigners proposed as Phuket, Tat, opening up possibly for tourism. They've pretty much come to the conclusion the fact that tourists are not going to come if they have to spend 14 days in quarantine. I think it's taken a bit of time for them to actually realise that, but most viewed. What have we got today for most viewed? State quarantine to be shortened for 10 days. So shortened to 10 days from 14 days starting April 1 as part of the government plans to reopen for October. So the focus is October 1 for reopening to Thailand. Which people done, yes, yeah. I think it was 130 million. I think the numbers I saw this week, Dowler. Last question, I promise. That's all right. More questions. For older couple, money not an issue. Where in Bangkok do you suggest a first-time visitor book a hotel from the States? Well, the best way to do that, Joey, is just go here. Let's just go to your Google Maps. Go to Bangkok. This is what I tell people. Not Bangpan. I don't want Bangpan. Go to Bangkok. You type in the word hotel. Hotel. And this is one of those things about Google. It'll actually give you pricing, and you can just say, well, where do I want to stay? I always just say, like, have a look at near the BTS line, right, and start looking around here. And so it gives you the price there, and then you want to check at what it looks like. You can, what's the hotel look like? Okay, so it looks like we can't get to that one, for instance, but we can get an idea. So 558 baht. What are we looking at there? Into the street view. This is one of the nice things. So you've got the MRT. I don't think we're really getting a good view of that one, but down that little side street, if that's the sort of thing that floats your boat, then you might consider it. Hotel. Oh, come on. But that's the way. It's nice and easy to do. So this 558 baht gives you the Royal King Garden. Agoda's giving you 600, you more rates. This is the best way to do it. Booking this way, and I think if you're going to come here, you're going to be sort of booking. You're going to pay all your accommodation up front. Now, of course, these places here aren't the ASQ, and we don't have ASQ listings, which is the thing that we've got a problem over the last 12 months for people booking holidays. There's only a few places that have been approved for ASQ, but once your ASQ is finished, I don't know whether, depending on the visa, if you're doing the S2V, you have to book it for the whole time you're here. So you do the ASQ for the first 14 days or 10 days or whatever it might be. Then you're going to have to book with Agoda or Trip or Booking or something like that for the remainder of the holiday. But yeah, that's the way to do it. Look for the, like you've got the nice little lines where the lines are. You get different prices for different ones here. I don't know what the difference between the red and blue are. Okay, great deals, but I don't think we've got ASQ. No, there's no ASQ listings, or nothing that can be released. Look at where you can check for ASQ at least anyway. But yeah, so just grab the Google Maps and then pick a location and then check out the places. I've got a few places here that people have told me about, and they've enjoyed their stay there. Like this one here, sort of a friend of mine says when he comes, he always stays Nana Thai Mansions. He thinks this is a really good one. The prices have dropped quite considerably. About those prices are down about maybe 30% from last year. But yeah, so he enjoys staying there. I got another one here, Omni Tower. Another friend here has told me he stayed there. And this is right on Sukhumvit Alley 4, Soy 4, which is the infamous Nana Plaza. But there are other places around that place. I just I'm only putting them on here if somebody like Citrus Sukhumvit, another friend he stayed here. He quite likes staying here, but it's quite a lot more expensive. But again, it's personal preferences, isn't it? But these are all places that have been recommended. And one of the guys that comes and visits on the Discord of this, which is Galleria. He said he stayed in Galleria, and I've actually looked inside there. I think I took a couple of shots with the video camera inside there. But 3 guest cancellations, that looks quite expensive compared to what we were sort of seeing elsewhere. Compare prices, so you might have to sort of call the hotel direct on that one to find out what they're charging, because it doesn't have it's not on the Agoda list, it looks like it. But yeah, so it depends. It's one of those things. The best way is just you Google's your friend on this one, and then sort of checking out some of the hotel reviews that are going around the place. I'm not a hotel. The last time I stayed in a hotel was 10 years ago, and it wasn't Pantip Suites. It was just trying to get my bearings now. Okay, it was Saton. How far down was it? It's not even showing up on there. Don't know why it's not showing up on there. It should be showing up on. It was roughly around this location here. I can see it from there. It's not even showing up there as a pinpoint map on there at the moment. But just for the love of him, I was just trying to remember what the name of it was. Maybe it's shut down. I don't know. It's right on this sort of thing here, around this area. totally lost it now. But as I said, I haven't taken a hotel accommodation for that long that it's almost impossible for me to even sort of say what it's like anymore. And I have no idea why it's not even showing up on the list. I know it wasn't that far down. It was somewhere around here anyway. Yeah. Maybe they've gone out of business because everything's closed down. HOTEL. Yep, so kind of recognise the names there. But I used to come, every time I came over, we used to stay in one of these ones around here, but it's just not showing up as listing at the moment, which is weird. And I'm completely lost to actually what it was called. I haven't been there for 10 years anyway. Johnny Siam, g'day, how you doing? And William, g'day, how you doing? Going to Soy 4, like place called Stumble Inn. A few people have told me about Stumble Inn, but I've actually not got any direct reference. It's just come up in conversation a few times. And again, I think we do talk quite often about up here, which is Soy 7-1, which is where Susie's is. We have got this one here, which is Maxim's Inn, quite inexpensive on 7-1. There's another one here, which is the Best Value Inn, Nana, and then there's this one here, Atlas. A few people have stayed in these ones, and they've not been disappointed, but rather inexpensive, right in the centre of Sukhumvit there. Some things to consider. Sometimes you're going to come in here for a few weeks, you want to be right in the middle of it, you know. So girls outside, food outside, oh yeah, good music. Oh, so Johnny, John, I was renting a brand new condo in Lat Pral near Chatuchak, yeah, and I was paying 4,000 baht a month for a 26 square metre condo as an office on 6 months rent agreement. Yeah, had a Honda Wave 125 to drive. Yeah, sounds like a pretty good deal, John. There's lots of deals, so I think the best thing to do is make it on the ground. I got to be also careful what I really can't be seen as even given recommendations, because that could be construed as being working in Thailand as well. So I try to skirt around it as being, friends giving friends information. I don't want to, if I started doing, hotel reviews, it could get a little bit weird. Which is brings me to another subject. When we're out on Thursday, we did the boys' night out again last Thursday night. One of my mates got invited to do an interview at Pat Pong with one of the nightclubs there, and he sort of said, we could probably even get you in to do a sort of a video expose, and then sort of in the same breath, I'm going, well, that'd be fun, but how could you do an upfront discussion, right, on that sort of nightclub, nightlife, nightclub sort of style? It's a bit of a loss of, where I could take a video. It has to be done during the afternoon without music and everything else, talking to the manager, how's business sort of thing, and then probably interview a couple of the girls about their life and times and where they're from. But, trying to keep the thing, above the waist, it could be a bit of a short video. But then, of course, then we're out later in the night. I was talking to one of the managers there at Susie Wong's, and he was talking to the owner of the NZ bar, I think at the NZ, what's it called? Wasn't a hotel. That's right, the Kiwi Sports Club. He was actually there in Soy Cowboy talking to Liam, and he said, "Why don't you come to my place and interview me about doing a bar?" Again, they'd be quite into that. And I said, "Do you know? Do you know?" He says, "Of course I know your channel." It's going to get to the point. Too many people know me. That's why I got to be a good boy when I'm out and about. Because you just never know who's watching these days. And again, I don't want to get myself into any strife with any establishment. But again, doing sort of interviews like that could potentially sort of set you up for some abuse, unless of course I could really take a good angle. Which this is where I'd come and ask you guys, what sort of angles could we sort of work with on that one there? Because got to try to think about something like that. How do we come across and put this in a favourable light? This is part of their industry. Sort of the underbelly industry of Thailand. Well, not so much the Kiwi Sports Bar, but the Triple X on Patpong and Susie Wong's in Soy. How do you do positive stories on that? It's a bit of a mystery. It's something I'd like to investigate, but then I go investigate it so that I don't get into trouble with any authorities. And they could construe that to be working in Thailand, even though you're not making any money, because even if they gave you a free beer, that's it's in exchange for getting a good review. It could be a bit of a difficult one. Luke M, stay safe. Oh, you're off to bed. Okay, Luke, sorry about that. And it just scrolled off on me again. Damn it. What have we got? Got to keep that one up there. I would plunge through. Yes. He said, always live live bands. Great before the soy. Yeah. Check the difference between economy and business class. Better off putting up with the crap for 14 hours of flying, and be better off paying $1,000 plus one. Yeah. Mitch got a free upgrade to first class twice. I never even bothered asking for upgrades, although I probably had points to upgrade from all the flights I did there. I could never understand the way that the free flight system worked, and quite frankly, I just wanted to get on a plane and get off a plane. I think I mentioned it before. It was 13 hours door to door. That's including all the taxi travel and everything else around the place. So that was all I cared about. Lock the door at home, go to Thailand. There you go. Give my girl a kiss 13 hours later. Always worked quite well for me. I didn't care how I got there. Economy Plus is a sweet spot. Yeah, I think I got a couple of Economy Plus just because of when I was doing a business trip, they put me on Economy Plus. Trevor from Buzz and Patia does great stories in bars, does he? I might have to check him out to see if I can get an idea of how he's doing it. It's just it always strikes me as how can you do like effectively we know what goes in Patia stays in Patia sort of topology, and how you put that and put it in a positive light. But as I said, you people coming from overseas, one of the places you tend to want to go to is the night spots. How do you sort of highlight the night spots? The only real education I had on that was from Kev's experience, but then of course and that last 12 months of Kev's channel, last 18 months of Kev's channel, he pulled all that stuff down because of the subsequent problems that can cause by as I said, what goes in Pattaya stays in Pattaya. People want to be anonymous, and you just never know who's in the shot. People can walk into the shot. I actually even I've had one video when I was at Susie's place, the Down Under bar. I had to take I had to cut 13 seconds of video out because it had somebody in that video that didn't want to be recognised. And they flagged it. I had to chop it and take it out. And that's one of the things you got in it. And that's Susie. She's my best. She's my best mate. In Sukhumvit. We're always there. But some people just like to be anonymous, and that's an upfront bar. In the afternoon in Thailand, right? You're allowed to be there, right? There's nothing seedier or nothing wrong about that bar. The street might be a different matter, but the bar itself is up above board. But again, some people, they're supposed to be working in Thailand, not sitting in a bar in the afternoon on a Friday afternoon. That's what they told their boss. So you got to be really careful with this stuff. So those are sort of things that I think about, trying to protect everybody else before it becomes something I'm doing. Even when I was CFO at big companies, I could not justify travelling business class when I had employers on minimum wage. That was, yeah, I can appreciate that. Yep. I have never travelled business class and would never contemplate it. I've been first class once, but that was when the government paid us to fly to England in '75. But that was when jet setting was jet setting, back in those days. It was quite nice. Never travelled like that again. I suppose you could justify if you can claim back on taxes. Back in the day, always overbooked the flights. Joey, yes, I trust you are. And which hotel would you suggest for the next trip? Royal Orchid, Sheraton, or I don't even know either of those. Or Siam. I have had no reports on those. Sheraton is a fairly decent brand, so on a name context, I'd probably go with Sheraton, only because they have that brand identity. That's about all. But again, that's the thing. Brand identity is brand identity. I don't even know if the brand identity here in Thailand is the same brand identity that we're familiar with Sheraton in Australia. Sheraton in Australia has fairly good reputation. Yeah, I've seen the T-shirt, Richie. Nowadays, most companies are not making a profit, so corruption, taxes are not an issue. Well, there's still graft that goes on everywhere you're going. I think there's probably more graft going on now, but it's probably a little bit more discreet. Cody, oh, okay. If you can get business at a discount fare and an elite with partner airlines, then it can be easy to work with points. Yeah, okay. I had a couple of loads points. Most people know that the US also redeem miles for domestic flights rather than international upper class. Yeah. Yes, and I had a stack of points on, because I always flew Thai. Well, after the issues I had initially with Qantas flying direct to Thailand, three strikes and you're out. I wouldn't fly at Qantas if you paid me. I started flying Thai, I think 2007, and so from 2007 to 2016, effectively, I accumulated a lot of travel points, but I never used them. I just, the Thai system just seemed to be quite odd, and at no time did they ever contact me or tell me I should use my points to travel, because I would just go to the website and I'd log into the website and make my booking. There never anything just to say, you've got so many points, why don't you take this? It was just Thai Airways. I was more concerned with the travel flight and getting there in one piece, and half decent food and a pleasant company on the flight. So Qantas stranded me on the tarmac for 4.5 hours one trip. Another trip, I had some guy that was 350 pounds sitting on the seat next to me. Right, had to lift the armrest so he could sit in the damn seat. Right, and here's me squashed up against the freaking window. And I did ask to be moved, and they said, sorry, nothing we can do about it. That was Qantas. That was the third one. That's right. That's right. A full flight, and the in-flight entertainment system in the back of the seat was broken. I said, I pay for in-flight entertainment. I got no. They fuck you. That was the sort of answer I got from Qantas. So never flew with Qantas again. That was you, wasn't it, Mr. Mitch? I bought 2 of those shirts. I actually need to get one of those sort of t-shirts. I've seen them in the markets when I've been down there. Maybe next time I go to patio. The boys' night out stuff is trying to sort of convince me that I need to sort of do 2 days in a patio with them. But if I go and spend 2 days in patio, I have to not drink. As I was sort of saying to Luke before, that Thursday night, it took me all yesterday to be, although I didn't have a hangover, I just, seriously, vodka and tequila shots is not a good mix. And my stomach felt like it wanted to revolt yesterday. I didn't get sick, I just felt seedy all day. You know how it goes. And doing patio, the same thing. If you went out drinking that night, then of course the next day, oh really? Can I get back to bed, please? Better sitting back. And so I always remember, every time I think about airplane flights, I always remember sort of the sketch from Billy Connolly with the jobby wicker. So there you are in an aeroplane, scooting along the air at 30,000 feet, so they give you a life jacket and a cushion, right? So there you are, flying horizontally, aiming for a mountain. What do? Do you all pick up the pillow at one time and throw it forward and say, go away, nasty mountain? Well, there you are, heading vertically. This is heading vertically from Manchester. Hey Jimmy, aim for a puddle, will you? Oh, I'm sorry. God. Anyway, then again, I'm about to go to Alaska Airlines and Partners. I've heard it's more difficult with Star Alliance. I think Star Alliance was that was the point system I was with when the Thai Airways, but I sort of never used that, never understood how it worked. Every time flights go, Etihad, Emirates, Qatar, yeah. Stephen Monash, good morning, how you doing? Sorry late, but the letter's on the way, that's what we like to see. I want to live in Lao Cai, Vietnam, and sometimes visit Pattaya to celebrate my life with you guys. Well, you're always welcome to do that. I just hear, I got 2 friends that live in Vietnam. Actually, no, one's in Vietnam, one's in Cambodia. And all I sort of hear from them is their problems. Well, they're not really problems, just the fact that, the guy that lives in Ho Chi Minh City, he always seems to have something going on in his life. And again, the guy that's living in Cambodia, he was telling me his friend just got, they both got pulled up by the authorities, and his friend got deported for a lapsed visa. Again, the rules of visa, have a visa. he's been on a lapse visa for some time, but just that he just couldn't pay the bribe this time, or the bribe wasn't enough or something to overlook the situation. So they both spent 2 weeks in detention centre, quarantine, for whatever reason. I don't know. It just didn't quite make sense what was going on there. But anyway, that happens. Sometimes I think people just create a rod for their own back. Depending on the length of the flight and miles earned, it might not be a bad idea. Yeah. Prefer split flights stopping in Qatar. Yeah, well, that's one way to do it. Break the flight up, gives you a bit of leg stretching. I know, even for the 8.5 hours I was on my plane, 8.5 to 9 hours on the plane from Sydney, just to walk the aisle, halfway through the end of second movie, just walk the aisle just to stretch your legs. Was something I always did. Mr. Mitch, if I can stay in Bangkok, I stay at the Stable Lodge. Where's Stable Lodge? Soy 8. Okay, that's Soy 8. Okay, so the next one along there, Stable Lodge. So you recommend that one, do you? I need to probably, I'll put it in there. I need to split this thing up, not places I want to go, but hotels. I need to make a new list. Start to look that down. It's not too bad. The price looks fairly good. Yeah, so Soy 8, it's just a short ride walk up the road to Soy 4. Soy 8, so you got Susie's is over here. So just across the road from Susie's. Casual hotel with restaurant and pool. Get some photos of it. Nice looking pool. Rooms look pretty good. There's a buffet breakfast. Menu looks fairly reasonable. Looks a bit on the expensive side for the food, but Kapat Moor, 195 baht for fried rice. Come on, you don't pay any more than 35 baht out here for that. That's a bit overpriced. Yeah, it looks like it. The pictures look alright. John Nick, have you noticed that the Vietnam females don't look so happy as Thais? It is like someone in their family has died and they've got to go and got the funeral bill. I really can't make a comparison. My friend that lives in Ho Chi Minh, I've seen pictures of his girl. I think, yeah, she looks happy in the photos. But I've also seen, we talk about the motorcycles here in Thailand, the motorcycle traffic, and just that sort of side of things. And when you start to see some of the motorcycle traffic that you get in Ho Chi Minh City, right, you don't even bother driving a car anywhere. It's just ridiculous. It's all motorcycles. And, people, it's just so crowded. I thought Bangkok City was crowded, but Ho Chi Minh City, for instance, was way worse in comparison from the stuff I've seen. But again, I think selected video shots, not being there and actually being on the ground, you're only sort of seeing it through the lens of somebody else. It can be a little bit sort of skewed, might have to look, Mr. Mitch, people in Vietnam were very nice, but didn't seem to have the joy in life as Thai. I think Thais just have better food. That's always been my opinion. It's the food that makes them smile. Gotta love the Thai food. I'm sure that the food in Vietnam is just as good, but it's just you know, even in Australia, we'd always go eat Thai restaurants. We'd never, like, if you've got a choice of Thai, Chinese and Vietnamese food, if you've got 3 restaurants side by side, the group would always choose Thai. That was just what we did in Australia, If you didn't have Thai, then it came down to Vietnam or Chinese, then we'd go Chinese. Vietnam food would be probably the last choice on the menu when it came to Asian food, and you'd probably go Italian if you had, if you had only Vietnamese on the street, and had other international like burgers or Italian or something, you'd choose Italian or burgers over Vietnamese food. That was what we did in Australia. I think that again has something to do with the type of food that they serve. It just to us didn't seem to really float our boat. Did your children stayed with you? Good. Eat on the street as you do. Street food. Got to get used to the street food here. It might take a little bit of getting used to in some situations, but I've never had bad street food. Always make sure that when you're buying the street food, buy from the vendor that's got the Thais queuing up, not the guy that has no queue. The Thais know better than what we do. Richie, street food. Chicken. You can never go past chicken on a stick. Chicken on a stick is like that'll you can't go wrong. You see chicken on a stick, just you're good. Vietnamese ladies are more reserved. Yeah, I guess that's why my friend's girlfriend looks happy. I think they've got an established relationship, so she's probably feeling much better about herself. Gulliver's, yes, we know Gulliver's. That was one of my hangouts. Gulliver's Tavern. It was on Soy 5, is it? Soy 5, yeah. So yeah, Gulliver's was here. The guy that got the manager of our office in Bangkok, he actually stayed. I think it wasn't. Which condo was it? I got to remember what condo. Mediasia Healthcare. Yeah, I think that was it. This one, he live in condominium. It was really nice, large condos. Okay. But yeah, so wasn't cheap. I think we had about 76 square meters or something like that. Pretty sure that was where it was. But yeah, that was the condo that he was renting. Worked really well. Yeah, so we used to go from there, and we used to hang out at Gulliver's and play pool. So Gulliver's is just a pretty cool tavern. I think a little bit too upper class now. I think back in the day, the 2005 through to 2009 or 2006 to 2009 was when he was the manager. I would stay with him, and it was just like we just used to hang out there all the time. But now it's a little bit more snooty. I think I did a video in there a couple of years ago. That was where we were there, and we had Stephen Clark. It was his shout for the beer, and he went to 7-Eleven, bought us all beers at 7-Eleven. But it looks good. It's a flashy looking place. Did I go to the right place then? No, that's Gulliver's. Doesn't look like Gulliver's at all. What am I looking at? There it is there. the pin's wrong. Yes, this is Gulliver's here. The pin location is wrong. But yes, it's a very, very flashy looking place, not like it was back in the old day. A little bit more homely back then, but now they've really gone upper class, and you know. Nice part of the city, Vietnam traffic is almost all scooters and motorcycles. Yeah, well, that's what I've seen in the videos. I've checking things out as much as I can do. Yeah, and of course on the motorcycles always seems to be going in the right direction. You know. Here in Thailand, you still can't get over how people still think it's safe to actually drive reverse flow on a two-way street, you know, on the wrong side of the road. It's just a Thai thing. You just got to get used to it. Chili. I've seen that one coming up in ads recently. Let's get off the street view. Chili restaurant, Sukhumvit. No, it's actually not on Sukhumvit, is that it? That's not it. Is that it? That one, Chili, that's not on Sukhumvit though. Maybe it's not on Chili. I've seen signs around the place for a place called Chili. They seem to be sort of getting a bit of airplay lately. Pretty chill, yeah. I walked around in Hanoi with 30,000 baht in my pocket for 30 days. In Pattaya, I almost lost my passport and all my cash in my bag the first night to a pickpocketer. Yeah, you got to. Yeah, Pattaya has got that sort of reputation, mind you. I've never really felt worried about that a few times I've been in Pattaya, but again, I think it does depend on the streets you're in as well. It's a great place. Gulliver's very good to have sometimes to eat there before heading off tonight. Yeah, I think we got there and it's like they had a happy hour till 8 o'clock. And so we ordered the drinks at 7:55 when we got there to get the happy hour, right? And they brought the drinks to us at about maybe 2 minutes past 8, with the bill at normal price. And we said, no, we ordered it 10 minutes ago. We want they wouldn't come to the party, so we said, okay, drink up, we're not staying. Bloody people, cheeky bastards. Good idea. Yeah, always go out, eat before you go out in town. When I bought a McDonald's burger, when I bought a McDonald's in Bangkok for the Thai section, I would say it had pork in it, not beef. Yeah, what they call the VM. So it's a Big Mac VM, or yes, Big Mac Moo, Big Mac Set Moo. The preference is always, unless if you look Thai, you'll almost always get it in pork. As a foreigner, you've got to actually ask for it in pork, or they'll give you the standard. But yeah, so I don't eat the beef ones. I always eat the pork. I think it tastes better, but that's just personal preference, I guess. I think they'd probably do well in Australia to bring putting pork on the menu in Australia. I think that'd probably be a hit. But you know, they got to keep keep the Muslims happy, because Muslims eat at McDonald's too, and they'd probably have an issue with it. Political correctness and all that sort of bullshit. Yeah, that's right. They're not that flat. I thought it was, compared to some of the other things on that soy 5, it is a flashy looking place compared to some of the other stuff that's there. And again, it's got the big car in the middle. Yes, it's got the. It'd take me half an hour to go and find which video it was. Pool tables. They've always had the pool tables, and the girls in the back. The freelancers holding the tables or playing you on the table, or the freelancers playing you, letting you win the first game so that you play a second game and a third game and buy them a drink on the fourth game and get the idea. It's a game. Got to get used to it. I'd love to teach people the games you got to play here. Got to realise it's always a game. But how do you do that with the, tongue in cheek in with a girlfriend who gives you the third degree every time you go into Sukhumvit? Quentin. G'day, Quentin. I get that times are tough at the moment with the dollars, but this advice is fantastic. It takes nothing to give, Wazza. Yeah, well, I think like we were doing subject based, but so I really want to get this thing here moving into, like I'm just a guy that lives here, and this is what I've experienced. I'm not going to say anything's right or wrong. I'm just going to give it, as people now know my channel, it's down to earth, and it's as close to a reality situation as possible, just from my own personal experience. But although we might go and wander the red light districts once every couple of weeks, and sit down and buy the girls a few drinks, it is very much above board. We don't do any secret camera work like some of the channels, all lots of stuff. We try to sort of say, well, you can walk down Soy Cowboy, right? There's nothing wrong with walking down the street. It is a public street. It's just when you do the crazy shit, that's what you've got to watch out for. But we tend to go in there, and they've been hard done by. So buy the girls a few drinks. It's all right. Make them happy. They're just as happy to take a couple of $100 baht in ladyboy drink tips as they are getting bar fined and taken off to some sort of seedy little hotel somewhere. I'm pretty sure most of them would just prefer to have a couple of $100 baht to probably to pay their bills. I generally don't eat at those big chains. Occasionally I go to Sizzlers. Actually, recently I did the Sizzler. We did this. I think we did even a video when we did the Sizzler out here in one of the local local malls out west. The one that will be closest to us when we finally do move in. I felt that the Sizzler was a little bit overpriced, under supported, and maybe it was just that Sizzler that just wasn't as good as what I was used to. Sizzler, I think the Sizzler franchise died in Australia, and I think it's going the way here in Thailand as well. They just don't have the thing that people look for in food anymore. My favourite in the malls is there's two. There's bonchon chicken. Love bonchon chicken, especially their Korean style. That's the Korean style chickens. The bonchon chicken and Santa Fe. Santa Fe have great steaks, well priced, and bonchon chicken. Great chicken. You can get it spicy or garlic or whatever. They're my two favourites when I go to the mall. I don't prefer. I'm pretty sort of anti McDonald's when I go to the mall. There's so many other choices to go. No, I could do more mall visits if you want to sort of see these things. People are just going to just ask for them. I'll do more of them. Great steak and eat as much as salad as dessert. Yeah, well, the Sizzler has the open food bar, what they call, what do they call it? salad bar. I think that's one of the unique points outside everything else. The only chain I hit in Thailand is Fuji restaurant. Not familiar with them. I've never. I think just being food, I'm not big on Japanese food. Stephen Monad, your house is looking nice. I put on a new front door and a new shower head and taps massive shower head, so relaxing. Me, I've always liked those economy sort of shower heads, the water saver shower heads. I like the needle droplets. I've always preferred that sort of thing. I'm going to make sure that's going to go in our house, or at least in one of the rooms. I'm going to put one of those water saver heads. Excellent. Hard to avoid Thai folks bringing you to the MK Suki restaurants. MK. We've got one here on the down the Big C. There's a MK restaurant there. I've really never liked them. I've never really been into the boil your meat sort of. Okay, mother used to do pot roast back in the day. Which is, I suppose, in one sort of sense, a boiled meat. But I've never really been into it. There's something about it. I like. It's just one of personal preference. Although I won't throw up at it, I just if I got a choice, I won't go MK just simply because I'm not really into the suki. But there was one up here on Rongnam Roy Sit, which is a little sort of alcove. They had one up there, which was a combination suki and barbecue. That was good because kept her happy because she likes the suki. I prefer the barbecue, so kept us both happy in that day. So she would do the suki, I'd do the barbecue. What goes in Thailand stays in Thailand. We try to get you know what it's like. Great insights to your lives in both Thailand and loving this channel. Well, thanks, Jenny. We don't get many women commenting. We'd like to see more women coming and asking us questions, and what would you like to see more of? But it just seems like women tend to be a little bit put off by the fact that there's a male presenter and a male dominance in the video, and me always talking, of course. But quite happy to sort of answer your questions anytime. Your front door cost 20,000 baht. It's rather expensive, but I painted it myself. 2 coats of waterproof primer paint, 2 coats to finish. Well, sounds like the fun. Okay, and mine was down, so skipping through. When my girl first came to the US, she thought Sizzler was an amazing place to eat. She didn't realise that in the US it was just pretty average. We went to exactly once and she was ultra disappointed. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I've never been to the States, so I got no way to sort of compare it. But Sizzler had a good following back in the 80s. They were a place to go to back in the 80s, but they just seem to lose it. And we also had another one, so local one we went to was called the Black Stump restaurant back in the 80s. We used to, I think there's still a few Black Stumps around in Australia, but they were always good for a good turn of steak, nice char grilled steak. But yeah, Black Stump, I don't know how many left of Black Stump anymore. The new handle is great. Just press the button. Okay, we're talking about Stephen's door now. Yes, most recently with Chanya talking about house decorations, I think what we're going to need to be doing now is, I think we did the walk around one of the home improvement stores, but she's been trawling through Facebook recently, showing me all these videos of bedroom suites and things like that. And, oh my God, seriously. So yeah, the decorating is going to be I suppose we're going to probably have 3 months worth of decorating videos coming out when we sort of finally move in. Just waiting for that final thing. The bank just, come on bank, just pay them so we can start the move. Then we'll give you all the inside story of how much it costs and everything else. That's all we're waiting for now. Just come on bank, just pay them. Give them the money and then we can start, I think that's about where we're at right now, as far as I can understand. The house is almost ready to walk into. Still don't know what those wires are up on the corner. Somebody just said air conditioning. Maybe it's power for the air conditioner. They put in the cables in for the power boxes. That's where you would probably put an air conditioning unit. But it said, I don't see any holes in the wall where you would take the drain pipes or any of that sort of stuff. So what that really represents, I really don't know. Then again, we've got to worry about like the things like the security cameras. I'd like to put a security camera system in, because I'd prefer to have security cameras as opposed to bars in the window. Like bars in the windows, just gives you that sort of we're in jail sort of thing. I think our estate would be fairly well monitored. But I said if we put our camera, because I'll have cameras on the estate, but cameras that we look after as well as the estate cameras, not so much you could fiddle with that. John, in the UK, could not justify going to steak restaurants. Males will look. I know. Like last time I had a steak in England was when we went there in '91, and I think it was we went to Tesco to try to buy a decent, what they call sirloin, New York cut sirloin. It just really, we found it in Tesco's and took it home and cooked it up, and it didn't taste anything like the beef we would eat in Australia back in the day. It's just so, really, I'd never buy beef in the UK. Ugh. For all the spice, and really, is that right? I said I haven't been in England since '91, so I really got no comparison. But yeah, just the food in England. Actually, it was actually a joy to actually eat a McDonald's burger in Carlisle. We did the trip from Plymouth to St Andrews, and halfway through, stopped in a Carlisle because I was feeling a bit road weary. Stopped in. I actually enjoyed eating a McDonald's burger. The McDonald's me back after 2 weeks of eating English, home cooked food. Not to say it was bad food, it's just the fact that it's very stodgy and bleh. It was just good to actually get something my stomach was conditioned to eating and recognising. So you're John the accountant, actually building my house office in Thani province, 2-floor, and it has already taken 2.5 years to do. Really? So our house progress is not going too bad in comparison. Well, I don't know. So we've still got to do all the dressing. I've just said we move in. So before we move in, we're going to make sure the internet's on and the air conditioners are in. Once those two things are done, so that's probably 2 to 3 days to do that, then we can start to pack up and move everything else. And it's part of the. I'm sure that there's going to be a little bit of sleeping on floor sort of arrangements until things get done. But once those two things are done, we've got to build build the kitchen for Mother. That's got to be done. That's going to take a little bit of work. I think it'll take a week or something to do that. Find the right people to do that. Of course, there's putting all the shelving and for my kitchen, for the inside kitchen, all that sort of stuff. There's a whole bunch of things that needs to be done, but hopefully, it's only going to take, like as long as I've got the internet, I'm good. I can let them bang away downstairs. My room's full. The stuff I'm going to put in the computer room is fairly much all the stuff here. All I got to do is put some shelving up, so get the stuff off my desk and have specialised shelves for things. But outside that, a shelf for the printer, so I can actually get my desk a little bit more organised. I do want to get a fourth monitor up here as well, so that's another thing that's coming. But yeah, so as long as the internet's fine, I'm going to be good. I'm just looking at the time. 5 minutes to go before we wrap things up. Any questions you got before we wrap the thing up? I can imagine Chanya wants to decorate the... Oh yeah, we got... You are not far wrong, actually. I've seen some of the stuff that she's had and sort of liked. She's, when we go to bed at night, she's flicking through. She's building the dream, as they say. Building the dream. Look at this one. Look at this one. And they all look. So the downstairs, she wants a nice little entertainment unit. Looking at a big, 4K TV, and she wants to do some sort of what they call hidden down lighting, sort of stylized ceiling and things like that. And don't forget the chandelier. That's all coming. But as I said, it's been her dream to own the house. I'm just the dream maker. Making the dream come true. She's got a budget. I said you got $500,000 budget. That's it. That's what we've got, $500,000 budget for decorations. If you can't do it under $500,000, we're just going too over the top. So she knows how much she can spend. But it doesn't have to be all at once either. It'd be nice to sort of, a bit here and a bit there. Let's build up to it. Let's get ourselves established, happy and comfortable, and then we can start to do some pretties. Rupert, you're in Plymouth right now, are you? Oh, that's nice to hear. My ex just recently told me her mother passed away. But that was, she'd gone on a few years. John the Accountant, I would say that if you have money, there is a more food selection in London than anywhere else in the world. Is that right? Yeah, I was young when I was in London, first time around, so it's hard to tell. If in Bangkok, I still get fused. Can't do between Chopra and South China. Here's your friend's restaurant. Yes, you go to the site. Yes, classic Indian cuisine. So Soy 11 on Sukhumvit specialises in Indian food. Soy 9. Soy 9 on it's got India, so the Indian enclave. Never bothered eating there. It's one of those. Although I've had Indian food, it's just one of those things. Hummus. Most of this sort of stuff really has never taken my fancy. But to each their own. Oh, butter chicken's not too bad. Chicken pomegranate. Seafood curry. I worry about seafood sometimes. Tikka masala. I've had that before. Vindaloo. Never really been a fond of vindaloo. Yeah. I've got a bit of a selection anyway. I'd like to have everyone good health. If your skin conditions, take bath Epsom salts with magnesium, relax too. We don't have a bath here, Stephen, so it makes it a bit hard. For building outside, anyway, let's get it's time to wrap up things. Any trade for myself, never took it. For building outside Bangkok, I look at 10,000 baht per square metre if you run the project yourself, you can contract that as say 15,000 baht per square metre. Well, the total square footage, the square metre area is 126 square metres, 123 square metres. I won't be sort of putting that, so that's quite a fair. That's put a price per square metre on top of that. It's depends on where you're decorating. I don't think you have to decorate the whole house. But yeah, so you got to. I just said $500,000. That should satisfy our needs. Make a pretty lounge room, pretty bedroom. 2 of the rooms are going to be pretty squalid. Mother can do what she wants in her room. I'm not paying for that. If you know what I mean. That's her room. Got nothing to do with me. All I do is put an air conditioner on it for her. Johnny making hungry. Okay. Drew Hickford, can't wait to see Chanya Chandelier. Yeah. What she chooses though, I don't know. Okay, I am off to do some paperwork. Yeah, okay, good on you, John. Thanks for joining. Anyway, so big thank you for everybody that's been with us today. Typically our usual crude crowd. But we've had a constant viewing all the way along. I think sometimes I wonder whether I should start an hour later, because I think it's the hour later time slot. Maybe it's just the fact that it's the Aussies come on an hour later because it works out for time zone, because you're 4 hours ahead. We maybe could change to 11 o'clock to get that better spread, but of course if an hour later means I lose the US crowd. I think starting at the 10 o'clock we do catch US in the evening, and then the Australians more in the later part of the afternoon. So I didn't see Niall joined us. Did you recover all right there, Niall? We've got Niall's party in about 2 or 3 weeks. He's got his birthday coming up, so that's our next boys' night out. We can't wait. My stomach probably can, but yeah, could be another good night. And there's Darlo. Thanks very much, Darlo, for your generous coffee fund there. It's always appreciated. It's great to listen to for my commute and commuting. Where are you commuting to? I hope you're not driving somewhere. God. You're crude. You resemble that remark. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I was going to talk about this thing here. Maybe I'll talk about this thing. I'll scan it and get it up next week. These are the little things that we talked about when we're at the hospital doing the checkup. They have these things here, like this duo package. Maybe we can talk about that next week. I'll get them scanned and then hope, because it's all in Thai. I actually have to then do from the images. I have to then scan them and try to translate them. But you can get these health checks. They're doing the 990 baht health check, normally 3,000 baht, 1,990 for 4,600. That's with X-rays. Or you can get this complete package duo deal, and both of you can get checked out. Full medical. I think 15,500 baht is a good idea, but I think it's rather high priced. But maybe we can get some opinions from other people. Let's talk about it. And we might be sort of get that up for next week and see what we can come out with. I've seen it before at the hospital with Makashai Song was one that I'd go to. This one was just down to Vic, what they call themselves, Vic, I can't remember. VCHIV International Hospital, non-chem. She says it completely differently. I can't say it, but yeah. So we may, I've seen it up in Makashai. They do one as well. Looks like a lot of the private hospitals do these health deals or health checkups. They might do a couple of drop-ins and sort of see if we can get some comparatives and talk about it, and sort of think about whether it's worth doing it. And Jack Dorian, I will have to check. I will have a birthday Friday 2 weeks from now. Is okay? You're going to have a birthday? Is it really your birthday, Jack? That's the question. Is it your birthday, or you just want to have a birthday party because we need an excuse? Yeah, okay. Let's do a bit of health checking out. See if I can get some material together. Talk about health stuff. Okay. Anyway, guys, peace out. Love you joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. And where's my closing screen? There we go. Bye for now.
I want you to